Today, the FearFic boys discuss the CW's Powerpuff Girls leaked script, Overwatch 2's 5 vs 5 debacle, Dead by Daylight's future post-Resident Evil crossover, and a bit about the Harley Quinn show. Now, here with current events, Abysme, Slimebeast, and myself, DP.
So I started watching the Harley Quinn animated series on HBO Max.
Why?
It's good.
It is so good.
Yeah.
Like, unexpectedly good. I've been waiting for another good DC cartoon to come out, and it is fucking hilarious.
It's renewed for a third season.
Hell yes. I'm not even... I'm at the finale of one. I'll be through second probably by the end of the weekend.
Hey guys, what if we take the most popular character currently in the DC universe and give them the Rick and Morty treatment?
I wouldn't say it's too much Rick and Morty-ish. It's got a lot of...
I just mean like the edgy and in your face and, you know.
Yes, it is edgy and in your face, but there is an actual exploration of Harley Quinn as a character. Mm-hmm. Her dealing with her insecurities without the Joker. She's like realizing she has like a whole lot of
growing.
A lot of growing to do. She is just a petulant child, and her just trying and fucking failing to be a grown-up is hilarious. And of course, it's put into this ridiculous context of like succeeding in the world of supervillains. So it's good. I like it.
And the supporting cast is amazing.
The supporting cast of every Batman villain ever.
But like Kite Man's in there, Man-Bat makes appearance. They straight up just make fun of Christopher Nolan's Bane, like the entire
all the time.
Character.
Yeah,
it's
I've seen clips.
Good. Oh my god, I love it.
You still haven't gotten to Mr. Freeze yet, have you?
No, but they did like... What do I love about the show? What?
I will not spoil it for you, but like everyone, when you watch it, when you get to that episode, there are a bunch of fucking hilarious lines.
Well, I love that they've already like referenced, this is what Mr. Freeze did to this layer not too long ago, but like every time they set something up in an episode, it comes back either that episode or later. Like nothing is throwaway, and I love the writing. It is so tight.
Chekhov's clown, yeah.
It's oh man, I would just throw out tons of references, but we have other popular media to talk about.
Okay.
Is this a plugs episode or?
No, yeah,
will be after.
No, this is a do not listen. We're going to talk about things we like, things we don't like. Mm-hmm. We have opinions, and my opinion is, wow. Remember how I said Roll Q was going to destroy Overwatch? Hey. Now it's 5 versus 5. And why should you care? Why does this vindicate my opinion? Well, they implement this role queue and say, no, every team needs to have 2 tanks. And so what they did is they took people like me who did not care, who wanted the game to be about flexibility and diversity and just, make a team work, and also it doesn't need to be too sweaty and serious. They took that, hyper-comped it, like, everything's got to be serious. You have to have 2 tanks.
Yep.
They drove away people like me. They drove away the casual players. They drove away the people who don't mind playing tank by themselves. And now they are forcing everyone to have 1 tank per team. Yeah. So what happens when you drive away people who want to play with 1 tank and people who require that you play with 2 tanks? You're left with no fucking tanks, homie.
Can I tell you another joke,
You get
Kaplan?
what you fucking deserve.
Kaplan, can I tell you another joke? What do you get? The funny thing is, they had that thing where they used to have like the, not workshop, but like the place where they had like test modes and shit.
Yeah.
The test environment.
Yeah, the test environment type thing. And they did a whole thing where they had a week or 2 or whatever it was of, let's see what it would be like if teams only had 1 tank. And everybody was like, fuck this, no. So I don't know, I guess they didn't learn from their own testing, or?
It's
a lot
funny.
of the time you hear people saying like, oh, that's just a vocal minority. There was a vocal minority who were like, no, I like 1 tank only required. And everyone is just like, okay,
That's
You're
like
very
when
clearly a
YouTube's
vocal minority.
That's like when YouTube says we've been speaking with creators and taking out captions is what they want, fan made captions, and everyone, like the huge majority, responds, "Who are these creators you spoke to?" Like even big creators are like, Did you speak to me about this? Who the fuck are you talking to?" It's just a made up term.
You know what happens is somebody this is something that has happened time and again with YouTube. It's a single person or like two people who get the ear of somebody at YouTube headquarters.
Yeah.
Like either during a visit or there's somebody who's valued by YouTube and they get like to talk to somebody in the higher echelons.
Yeah,
and that one person has a problem with it. So they remove it for everybody.
It's funny. I know I always compare
Apples
Overwatch to League of Legends, and it's hard not to because one is the MOBA king still. But when League of Legends has had roles since forever, but they are loosely defined because since its inception, the player base, the people who play the game, break and remake those roles constantly, all the time, and they will reshape metas of. I know we're supposed to take tanks into jungle. Nah, we're going to take tanks top because fuck you, it works. I know we're supposed to take a support and a mage bottom, but fuck that, mage is going mid now because it works. So it's fine to have roles, but then to like steamroll your player base into no, now the roles are this and they can't be anything else is a wonderful way to just shit on the idea of players making the game their own and being invested.
It's sort of like looking at the game of chess and saying, why would anybody else need anything more than 2 rooks, 2 knights, and 2 bishops?
Mm-hmm.
You know, this king, that's so underpowered. You know, that's ridiculous. Take that out of the game. The queen, that's too overpowered. Get that out of the game. The pawns, that's no fun. Nobody wants to be a pawn. Take that out. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, but then then the game doesn't make sense and you can't play it. Like,
yeah, removing, and like balance, of course, is a very hard thing to do for a lot of games that have any level of complexity. But balance should never be, we're taking this very integral part out. It should be modified. It should be considered. It should be balanced. Removing it entirely, like, provide the option. Have different modes if people want that. But yeah, just taking it out and forcing everyone to fit into that box is always just going to set you up for failure.
Well, a million years ago when Team Fortress 2 was having a discussion with the community about, hey, so what do you guys consider when you're making a new item for the game? And they answered this with saying, okay, what if the enemy team had nothing but that item? Would there be a strategy to overcome it if everyone on the enemy team just min-maxed? Mm-hmm. So the Overwatch equivalent of that is, okay, what if everyone just goes a bunch of Hammonds, just stall ball, just stalling? Right. Is there a strategy to deal with that? And the answer was, usually in Overwatch, even like on a higher competitive level, there tended to be some sort of answer to everything.
Yeah.
So even when you lock it to like you can only have one of each hero, there tended to be some sort of strategy to overcome anything. But with GOATs, where it was 3 tanks and 3 healers, it just gave you so much room to make mistakes. So every team took it because it just dragged out the games longer. And then it has to compete with all of these other games on streams. And they focus on this esports thing far too much. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, well, we gotta take care of this and fix this. It wasn't a problem for the majority of players. Most of the players who played Overwatch didn't do it consistently. They would play it here and there. And they're trying to tailor it to like this hardcore waste your life on Overwatch demographic. And I am this rare person who was willing to waste my life on Overwatch, but didn't take it seriously. And it's like, this game wasn't designed to be this giant esports thing. And it fucked you. It fucked you so hard. You have these characters that are not meant to be balanced in their class vacuum. They're supposed to be balanced overall. So like, you know, as soon as they implemented role queue, wonder if Reaper is going to become effective, a character designed to kill tanks, and every team is required to have tanks now. It's almost like he's going to be busted. Oh, he's busted. What do you know? He needs a nerf. Who could have thought?
I really don't know. I was trying prior to this discussion to think of other games that have just so harshly restricted themselves and no, you can only have these roles, you can only do this. And I seriously, not the one that I've played, can I think of one that doesn't have some degree of, this is the recommended. But, I mean, take whatever you want and see what happens.
And that's what Overwatch used to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and so they've taken so much away from themselves, and I'm trying to think of some other game that's done that, and I really cannot think of one. I cannot think of a single game that was, you know what, we're just going to remove this gigantic portion of what makes our game's mechanics fun, the core mechanics, and now you can only do this.
Brandon, Dead Palette, why are you so upset about this? Overwatch was definitely my favorite game of all time, and I could no longer play it. And you might say, well, no, you can play it. There's an open queue, okay, balanced around a completely different version of the game. And now, that version of the game, this dumbed-down, watered-down version of the game that's not even the same thing, is going to be deleted for a 5 versus 5 version of the game. Imagine, if you will, a popular game like Super Smash Bros. Melee, a game that is loved, revered.
Pick a game that reaches more people.
Mortal Kombat X. Doesn't matter. So you take either one of those games. They have unpopular sequels. People don't like Mortal Kombat 11 as much. They complain about how the mechanics changed. They don't like Super Smash Bros. Brawl. They don't like how it's dumbed down, how certain mechanics are stripped out. Well, guess what the competitive community does? They just play the old game, and they still have the ability to do that. Imagine if every copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee was Thanos zapped out of existence and turned into a copy of Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah.
You cannot play Mortal Kombat X anymore. You have to play Mortal Kombat 11, the game that less people like. That is just so egregious. That's why I'm mad. I don't care what you're doing with Overwatch 2. I just want to play my pre-roll queue balanced version of the game where, yeah, Brigida's overtuned. I don't care. I enjoyed that version.
It's like when Blizzard, I mean, who knows what they're going to do with Overwatch, but World of Warcraft Vanilla, World of Warcraft, for any of you who don't know, got really complicated. Like, the game changed after the umpteenth expansion, and a lot of the player base was like, I really miss Vanilla. I miss Burning Crusade expansion, which was the first expansion. The game was a lot more simple. It was a bit more just kind of solid and just more enjoyable, and it doesn't hold your hand the entire time. I want that back. So they made their own private vanilla servers. Blizzard shut them down, because of course.
Right.
And then, but then came out like a month later, hey, World of Warcraft Vanilla, anybody? And it's doing gangbusters. And is that scummy? Absolutely. But they only did that because they realized, holy shit, a lot of people want this. Like, a lot of people. Because the only people who play World of Warcraft consistently are the people who have been there for a very long time. So...
AKA nerds.
They're giant-ass nerds.
Nerds.
Will they do that with Overwatch? Probably not, but they should let people just make Overwatch 1 pre-roll-lock servers and just let them have fun if they're smart. But
it's so stupid to have this proprietary mindset of, like, no, you need to play it here. Yeah. Why can't there be community servers? Like, I go out of my way to, when I was playing, find people that I wanted to play with who, wouldn't stress out about things, who, just had my sort of attitude. The design of the game is designed around flexing around and trying out different things and having fun. And sometimes you just do the dumb joke, what if we do 6 tracers? Like, you just have fun with it. Whereas, I'm bringing that to the table. Why can't I just have a private server?
Well, and Riot, for all the problems Riot has, the developer who makes League of Legends, they saw all random, all mid, and they made it a game mode. They saw, we want to play just one, everyone wants to play Lux so they can charge their laser and shoot it. So they just made that a game mode. And they balanced their, esports 5v5 thing around that, and that's, the main one or whatever. But there is so much accommodation to what the fan base wants to do for fun. So the game, if you have friends to play with, remains fun. I don't know why that's such a foreign concept to the Overwatch team, because it clearly works.
Well, I just want to point out that, going back to the thing about the experimental modes they used to have, when they did the experimental mode where they said every team has 1 tank, and we've made balance changes like Zarya has more bubbles and different things like that.
Yeah.
That's the same thing they're saying now about the Overwatch 2 change, which makes me very much believe that back when they did that experimental mode, they were already planning to do this. because it's a lot of the same exact things. I think all the way back then they were sort of already abandoning Overwatch for Overwatch 2 and thinking, despite the fact that they got really negative results, I think, if I remember correctly.
They did.
Yeah. They got negative results to the experimental mode with one tank and Zarya bubbles and blah, blah, blah. They still planned that all the way from then till now, planning to ram it down people's throats. like all this time, it's, just been, we're doing that. No, we're doing it.
You want to know why there hasn't been all of this Overwatch 2 news? Even though it's been a year and we've gotten scant information. Look at the new Toronto map. Yeah. Oh, you mean the map we fucking saw? Yeah, we've seen the goddamn Toronto. Oh my god, maple syrup, Tim Hortons. Yeah.
New York City.
Yeah, no, we fucking saw it. We saw it. We knew. We didn't. It's so frustrating. It blows my mind because you get all of these people. It's partly the competitive side, and people are like saying, look at all of these competitive players that are complaining about 5 versus 5. Clearly, they're not balancing for the competitive scene. Bullshit. This is just a result of them whining and saying, we want this, that, and the other thing, but they're not fucking designers, and they're just capitulating to this. And the much bigger issue are all of these fucking clickbait YouTube and streamers who go out there and just espouse opinions about fucking nothing.
Right. Well, you gotta make a video. You gotta have content. So
where
you have to
it's
say whatever.
Literally just background footage of a game of Overwatch, and it's like, hey, here on Shit Piss Gaming today, we're going to be discussing my fucking opinion on everything. And their opinion is whatever thing is annoying them today. I don't like May. And it's like, okay, I guess we're just going to complain and complain and complain until the developers who you have a private Discord with capitulate and nerf May.
Right.
Hey, developers, look, my video on May and how toxic she is got 500,000 views. Yep. Look at all my comments. Clearly, this is what everyone wants. It's not biased whatsoever.
Yeah, the top-rated comment you could see with 2,000 likes on it says, May sucks. There you go. That's what you need.
There you go.
No, that says, May sucks my toes and I love it. You misread the comment.
You didn't click show more. That's the thing.
May would suck on some toes. She would, she wouldn't do that unprompted, but if you're like, May, would you suck on my toes? She would be like, of course
She'd be accommodating.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, really get in there. Get that jam.
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm part of the team.
It is all of this fucking meta slaving, and right now the world of Team Fortress 2 is kind of having the same conversation because a lot of disaffected Overwatch players are coming back to Team Fortress 2, and they're like, we need this to be more competitive. No, that is exactly not the case. Listen, there's nothing wrong with trying to get better at a video game, but I think so much of it, I just gotta be real, comes from this delusion that you're gonna go fucking pro. You're not, homie. It's right. Like, no, I'm gonna be a full-time streamer. No, you're not. No. It's a game. Just stop trying to monetize your hobby, you fucking sucker.
Listen,
hustle culture is for fucking dweebs. Just have fun with the goddamn game. Waste your life on it.
Streamer. Look at every professional streamer. They have moved on from whatever game they started with because they realize that it's unsustainable, it makes their life a living hell, and it makes them fucking depressed and stressed out. So even if you want to go pro and you want to be a streamer, you're not going to stay with that game. It's just not going to happen. No one does it.
Plus, look at the top players. Look at the top ranked people. They all happen to be streamers. They all happen to be pro players. You don't get like a handful of people, like 5 or 6 people where it's like, here's some guy from Alabama who's 52, but he's really fucking good at Overwatch. He's an anomaly. He doesn't stream. He's not pro, and he doesn't care. You don't get any of those people. All the top people are like, this sort of Illuminati of players. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not gonna join that group. You're not gonna be in that group, random guy.
It's basically Hollywood.
When you get older, your reaction time slows down, and you're not going to be, even in esports, you're not going to be as good in aggregate. There is nothing precluding, 52-year-old gentlemen from Alabama from playing Overwatch professionally if they're actually good at it. But you don't see that. And there's a reason that you don't see that.
Additionally, if you don't have a good PC, you're not going to be up there. If you don't have a lot of
internet
things.
connection.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating that people get into this hustle culture mindset. Stop. It's just you're wasting your life playing a video game. Just be content with that. Like, you don't need to go pro. Just work a fucking day job and have fun with a game you like. I don't know what to tell you.
And listen, this, for anybody wondering what do you guys know? You're just a bunch of hard-stuck losers, This is coming from...
You're only platinum. Oh, you mean I'm in the 90th percentile of games? You fucking idiot. It's that how fucking delusional you are if you're saying, like, Plat Chat, you're just a dumb platinum. Yeah, better than 90% of players. Well, and you're saying that's an uneducated opinion? You're a fucking loser.
Well, here's the thing. This is also coming from one of us here. It's coming from the top-rated Junkrat player in U.S. servers, when Overwatch, was in its first couple of years. So, I'm just saying, top-rated number 1 U.S. servers Junkrat, with the most medals and, the most, things.
Well,
that's me right here. It's coming from the experts, man.
Well, you're saying that, and I know that Junkrat was never meta, but I'm sure you got many fucking sponsorship deals, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, so many sponsorships. Yeah, sure.
Guys, it really doesn't matter. I can't stress this enough. I really do lay the blame at the feet of the content creators who are just constantly going out there and just simping for all of these dumb, inane opinions that are just literally just emotional bullshit of like, man, I got lit up by Hanzo today. We better nerf Hanzo. It's just whatever got them that day. Mm-hmm. They get this in their head, and like you get all. And I'm not going to name their names because it's literally all of them.
You already said it was Shit Piss Gaming.
Shit Piss Gaming.
Yep.
It's so annoying, and it's like there's other games where like you understand the allure of the tryhardness, where it's like Valorant, super serious one-shot headshot game. Like, okay, I kind of get your like seriousness there. But, like, this is Overwatch. Okay? No.
How much blame for these people that are like, nerf Hanzo, nerf Mei, nerf this, nerf that? How much of that blame do you think lies at the feet of the developers purely for the fact that there aren't many heroes in the game? So you're constantly seeing the faults, quote unquote, in the same heroes over and over and over again?
Oh, I lay it completely at the developers because, yes, you have content creators with big audiences making complaints. But, again, I don't see other games kowtowing this much and putting, like, all of their eggs into that basket, personally.
It's sort of like, we need to nerf Symmetra because I'm so fucking tired of these fucking sentries on the walls and she's constantly putting them back up when I break them and so on and so forth. And it's like, yeah, you're able to focus on that because there's exactly 2 fucking builders in the game. So,
yeah, that's
so you're always going to be annoyed by Symmetra, more so than Torbjorn. Then that's the only 2 you got to choose from.
No, really it does come down to the developers because the buck stops with them, and it's not as though content creators have any right to make, changes in the game. So it is them making the decisions ultimately. And if you look back at the ancient history of Team Fortress 2, again, not going to call anyone out, but there was a very famous content creator who a lot of people liked, and he just, hated mini sentries and he hated engineers. And he just was so frustrated with it because that was straight up his hard counter to the way that he played. Mm-hmm. And so did this ever get nerfed? No. In fact, the developers did not listen at all. And it's
TF2 like went out of business immediately.
Yes. No, they've made bagillions off of cosmetic items and hats. And still continue to, even though the game doesn't receive updates.
What if... this is the big problem with Overwatch 2, is basically, I have the feeling we're never getting another Overwatch hero ever again. It'll all be Overwatch 2 heroes from this point forward. Just my feeling, in terms of the money grubbing way that things go. Say what now?
What do you mean by that?
Like, will you have to have Overwatch 2
No.
in order to play new heroes.
No, Overwatch 2 will give you all of the... So Overwatch 2 is just going to patch over Overwatch 1, and then there's going to be player versus environment games, player versus bots.
Okay, so it's not going to be like unlock the full version by doing this or whatever. Okay.
No, it's not going to do that.
What a stupid thing to do, by the way.
It is.
Yeah, it
like,
is confusing.
Like, I don't... Like, again, it's a MOBA. Dota 2 is only Dota 2 because the original Dota...
No, it's a serious tactical shooter, Abysme.
Serious. Dota was only ever Dota 2 because the original Dota was a Warcraft 3 mod map. So you literally did have to make a new game to, like, make it separate. Overwatch 2, why? Just why would you make a second one? It's not needed.
No, you don't understand. They need to make money off of this. Well, can't you just sell a season pass like every other fucking game does? You see, everyone demonizes these fucking season passes of like, oh my god, you're making me pay this. Well, it's better than a subscription service, and if all I have to do is throw them $10, $15 every like other month, and then they just have like infinite money to develop a game and hire new people, I don't care. I'll do that. I don't even care if I want the skins. If that just makes them continue to make content that I like, then I don't care. Instead of releasing this one-time $60 stupid thing for everyone wanted PvE so bad. Not really.
Yeah.
Everyone is just like, all the Junkenstein stuff, it's like, oh, that's a fun distraction. Okay, I beat it on hard.
You don't
I'm going back to the fucking game.
You don't even need season passes. I'm going to bring it back to League of Legends.
Loot boxes.
Game is fucking free. Loot boxes, cosmetic skins, make them worth it. Their artwork is great. That's why people buy it. I've spent hundreds of dollars before I stopped playing on it. I'm not afraid to admit that. Other games, make the DLC for the new characters, and then slowly expand what free characters are able to play. Like, there's many different ways you can make money off your game and not release a second one.
I feel like they have a lot of opportunity. First of all, my thoughts are piling up here, but I'm going to do some rapid fire bullet points, and we could discuss whatever. First of all, how long have we been waiting for fucking Sojourn in the time we should have gotten like 5 fucking heroes added? It's such a foot drag.
Listen,
Secondly,
you're going to get so many more characters. Oh, you mean by the time this game comes out, you're going to have at least 8 characters, and if we just continued updates, we would have had at least that many?
No, Sojourn, that's it.
Yes, Sojourn.
Secondly, wouldn't it be just great if they had, if they had some balls? No, if they had a stand-in Omnic model, okay? You have the stand-in Omnic model that you can size up or you can size down to make a tank or a DPS or even a short little Torbjorn character.
Yeah, it's the same. Yes.
It's the same model, sized up or down. And you just say, in an experimental mode, we've added, this Omnic that does this bunch of, abilities and this bunch of tactics, play this week as this character, and ones that people fucking like become characters in the fucking game. Like, just give them a design later. It seems like there's this cart before horse thing of, here's Echo in the cinematic. Here's Echo. Look at Echo, everyone. What does Echo do? I don't know. We think she's a healer. Maybe not. No, she's not a healer. She's a DPS, and she does this. No, come up with what is needed in the game first, and then do the design of the character. Then do the, lore. It seems like they come up with the lore and the designs before they come up with anything, and then you end up with this character like Echo where you're like, okay, well, here's a whole slew of problems that arose because of that.
They had that exact problem with Sigma, because Sigma was supposed to be Malga, and then they developed the kit and they realized oh shit, this does not fit a boisterous guy who this, lore character is supposed to be. So they just sideline that character, and that's an integral part of Baptista's story or whatever, and they just don't go into it because it's just well, shit.
I think they lied about that. I don't believe that, this is my personal gut feeling, I don't believe that the Mauga character was, based on how he looked, in the art and different things like that with his big old guns and his big suit and everything. I find it hard to believe that he did any of the above, firing 2 shots, casting out a shield at a certain distance, creating a zero gravity field and flew around and lifted people up. I don't see that character with that design. I don't see them ever giving that kit to him. Like, it just doesn't seem to make sense.
Yeah, you're right. I could see them giving him the rock throw.
Yeah, that's true.
And nothing else, really.
It seems to me like people demanded Moga, and they were like, why are you adding a white character again, and blah, blah, blah. And they said, it was going to be, you know.
Ooh, boy.
We intended to do Moga, but,
well, it's not like they haven't. It's not like they haven't lied about a bunch of shit where they said, you know, the most common setup is 222, and then like literally the next month they're like, actually people were, you know, that wasn't the case. It was usually one tank. It's just like, you guys can't even keep your fucking story straight. Right. It's like, okay, well, we introduced the open queue, and it was kind of popular in South Korea, but nowhere else. And it's just like, okay, how long did you take this information? Oh, it was literally from a day. It's like, oh, we've been developing roll queue for over a year now, and it's just like, you were in interviews with content creators saying that roll queue might be a shaky idea that you might not want to do. So when you say you were developing it for a year, was it one or two people investigate? What do you mean? Like,
you're lying then, or are you lying now? Yeah.
Are you lying then, or are you lying now? And you know, there's all these conspiracy theories thrown around about, like, why did Jeff Kaplan leave the team? My gut feeling is he probably wasn't a pro roll queue person. That's just my gut feeling. And I think he realized how fucked things are when they were forcing 5 versus 5. That's my gut feeling.
It's very easy to imagine that he just got out before all the bad news hit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the simplest way to give people the idea, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's you can't concretely say it's this or that, but I think he got out because when people are like, no, it's going to be fine, it's just like, really? The director left before the game came out and it's going to be fine? Are you fucking insane?
Not only that, but he said he had a big, exciting update, and when the time rolled around, the update was he left. There was nothing else at that point.
We're removing Jeff Kaplan from the team. Very excited about this personally.
I'm going to be putting on a Brigitte costume, and I'm finally going to be leaving the game. But the other thing I was going to say was about monetization and things. They haven't touched like the tip of the iceberg of monetization. They had that what was it? Was it like the Legacy edition, or what was the first? When they did the first release, you could get the regular one, or you could get the one with like the special skins. Origins, yeah. They never did anything like that again, where it's like, you know, get the such and such edition of Overwatch, get this edition of Overwatch, and they never have even thought of like skinning maps. Like, imagine if you could get a map set. You know, you think of how it changes for Christmas, how it changes for Halloween.
Yeah.
You know, things that don't affect gameplay, of course, just cosmetic and, you know, sensible changes, but, you know, turning this map into this or this map into that. An 80s aesthetic pack.
That'd be nice.
That's something that a lot of people would gobble up just to be, just because they don't, you know, that's like the trendy thing, you know, like, everything's the 80s now in Overwatch. Wow, you know.
They put all of this time and energy into like, hey, let's have these esports skins, and it's like, okay, yeah, fine. That's I'm not opposed to doing that, but it's like, and this is going to sound like really consumery, like ooh soy face or whatever. But like, legitimately, if you give me a Zarya skin that I like, you don't have to give me loot boxes. Just charge me $15. I don't care. That's like that's 3 fancy coffees. I don't care. If I'm going to wear that skin in game, I will get mileage out of it. I will simp for it. I will pay for it. You do not need to make an Overwatch 2. You're absolutely right when you're saying they are skimping on monetization. This is going to give them a boost, and then Overwatch will fucking die. This is the death nail that I've been waiting for. 5 versus 5 is the vindication of me being pissed off at this company and this game for over a year. I'm so happy that it's happening. I'm so glad, because people are going to pay the money, play this game, and then fucking stop. They're not going to keep playing the PvE story mode. Oh, they're giving us lore. Oh, you mean the lore that they promised us 5 fucking years ago? Shut the fuck up. This is ridiculous.
They really got tricked. They got jebaited. They got bamboozled, because for the longest time, everybody was complaining about the fact that there weren't new lore events. Like, oh god, it's Junkenstein again for Halloween. Oh god, it's Lucio Ball again. Oh, it's this again. There's nothing new. They mistook people being tired of doing the same thing over and over for people wanting, like, a ton of lore events, like PvE. Like, people were just frustrated at having the same thing every year, and they took that to mean, let's stop giving them new events, no new archive events, no new PvE events at all. We'll stop that, and we'll put all these PvE ideas into a new project. We'll charge, for this, Overwatch 2. And it's like, people were just, no. People aren't demanding a PvE game. They just were bored with Junkenstein.
It's really confusing too, because it's just like, okay, so they're not going to release any of these new events, and we're not getting any new lore. And it's just like the lore that we do get will have like occasionally cringy writing, and then Michael Chu leaves the team, the lead writer, and it's just like, so was that guy just sitting around jerking it to like Genji Mercy fanfics? What was he doing with his time?
Do you think he really cared?
That's the thing is,
who does care on the team?
I think he hooked up Genji and Mercy purely because he saw memes of I need healing.
That's what baffles me about a lot of Overwatch's just like decisions, mechanics, design, all of that. It feels like absolute amateur hour a bunch of the time, and I'm confused because Overwatch like emerged from the ashes of Project Titan before the Activision merger, I believe, and again, this is Blizzard. It used to be like one of the best video game companies around. They made fucking Diablo 2 and StarCraft. And then they birthed this team, which started out well, and then just things derailed. I don't know who's in charge of this department, and maybe it was just like some big exodus of upper management at Blizzard after the merger or something, but it's just baffling the choices they make and the ones that they don't make.
I will bet you anything, and probably lose, but I don't know. My gut feeling is that they wanted to save all the lore, like all the, interesting stuff.
Fuck cunt cocksucker motherfucker.
They wanted to. I just had a sound notification on here. Hold on one second.
Whoa.
We'll have to cut that out. Somebody subscribed to my YouTube channel, and even though I have the alert box off, it still made the sound. I don't know why.
Shit Piss Gaming, just subscribe.
Yeah.
So, what was I fucking saying? Let me try
something about saving up lore.
I feel like they decided to save the lore for comic books, for animatics or whatever they're called, and things like that people would purchase. Like they were thinking novelizations, they were thinking, the sky's the limit in terms of what people could buy. Movies, an animated series. This is the big plan for Overwatch, the big view looking forward. So we gotta hold on to that lore, cause nobody's gonna wanna buy it if they're getting it, in the game already. So I think they held on to it, but the comics didn't sell very well. The animatics were expensive to produce, and they got, a certain amount of buzz, but, then it faded over time, and it wasn't really worth continuing to make these animatics, which you'll notice they sort of have stopped doing.
Well, you don't.
And then they didn't put the lore in the game after that. They still are holding on to it for no fucking reason.
Which is funny because you can type up a few paragraphs, and put it in the game, and people will eat that up. You don't need to do anything fancy.
I'm not going to downplay the importance of writing and how difficult writing can be. All three of us are writers. We take it very seriously. We enjoy writing.
Yeah, all three of us are different level of writer. Yeah.
At varying levels. So, I'm not downplaying this, but, if your job, and I'm just going to be real with you, is to get paid to be in an office and write for 8 hours a day, and the output that you get is what the output of the Overwatch, community got, that's fucking criminal. How would you get away with that, Michael?
Because no one pays writers. There are no in-house writers. Maybe there's one creative director or something, but writers for video games are all him and whom else? Is there anyone else? Because
how many more writers do you need?
well, that's the thing. You shouldn't even have one, because all the successful writers I've seen, other than for enormous things like World of Warcraft, where you need at least one to kind of just make sure everything is canon, everything else is freelance. You shop that out. And then if you like someone's work, you bring them back now and then. Because it doesn't make sense to have someone sitting there writing for 8 hours when your game doesn't release new content every week. So, like, why bother?
Two things. First of all, they should have gotten Kojima. Secondly, I just wanted to point out, we still don't know why anything in Overwatch is happening in the game. We don't know why. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nothing. We know nothing.
Yeah. We don't know.
There have been retcons. We know less than we thought we knew. Remember how near the beginning of the game, it was like, here's Talon. They hate robots. And then somewhere along the line, it became, here's Talon. Their methods are shady. They kind of like robots. In fact, actually, they're kind of robot supremacists. It's just like, what the fuck?
I'm not gonna, like, downplay lore in video games, or people's enjoyment of it at all, but certain video games types, genres really kind of don't need it that much. And like League of Legends, they started out with, like, this lore that was relatively intact, but the game got too big. And the ideas were too small to introduce new characters with, like, different themes and different abilities. So eventually they just scrapped it. And now it's just like, new person hates this one faction because blah, and they're here. Like, it used to be 10 levels deeper than that. They realized, you know what, it doesn't fucking matter. Maybe we'll do, like, a little bit of, like, supplementary material here and there, little snippets, but whatever. Having an overarching theme is hard to do, especially if you're doing animatics, comic books, and you want to make it like the MCU or something. It doesn't lend itself to that for certain types of video games.
I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant, okay? Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, good.
What have we been doing for the past 43 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is sort of going to be like a whole bing bang boom sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch is a game without a central premise at all.
I don't think it used to be that way.
Well, here's the
we
thing.
need to save the world from conflicts.
Do you? Because
I think here. Let me put my premise out there before
so much
you
for
go
the
on your
rant.
rant.
Go ahead.
I'll put this out there real quick. I think that its initial thing was the world could always use more heroes. Boom.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
that
Now
was
allow
its
me
thing.
to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is a game without a central premise. And I'm talking strictly about the gameplay and the game itself and what you experience when you're playing the game. All the lore and all the extra stuff in the world doesn't change the fact that there is no central premise to the game, because what you're doing is, one team is pushing a cart to destroy the Omnics by setting off an EMT. The other team is preventing it. That's already
Setting
happened
off an
in the
EMT?
set off an EMT? Is that EMP? Sorry.
Gotta resuscitate.
Yeah.
Gotta resuscitate this monkey.
Well, to be fair, every round is about triggering your mercy, so.
Yeah.
If I blow up the first responders. there
Okay,
will be no
EMP, sorry.
responders.
Blowing up.
Fucking damn it.
That's how Mercy's parents died, and that's part of her lore.
So, in one round, you're trying to set off an EMP to stop the Omnic invasion, okay? The Omnic invasion happened in the past, okay? Or maybe you're trying to kill the Omnics because you're evil and working for Talon in the current times. I don't know. That's the whole thing, no basic premise. In another one, you're helping Winston move a shuttle, and you're trying to stop it. In another thing, there's no central premise to why all of this is happening. Some of these things are past events. Some of these are current events. Some of these are like future events if the other ones are current.
Which is fine.
Say what? It's fine, of course.
Like, who cares? What's the central premise of Super Smash Brothers? Fucking nothing.
Right,
People
but see,
are
the thing
fighting
is, when you
their
have
wars.
no central premise, you're hanging all of this lore on something that doesn't make sense in motion, in gameplay. Whereas it would have been so simple for them to just with a simple sentence or a simple short story or whatever, be like, hey, play Overwatch. The game that takes place in a simulation where Athena, the AI, is trying to organize and reorganize data as to how certain events would go or would change if certain things had happened.
Sure.
Like, it's so simple to be like, okay, all your lore can exist now, all your past events, all your current events, all your future events can exist now, because everything in the game is taking place in a simulation of the events that we're discussing. like an AI system is determining what would happen if Junkrat and Roadhog were fighting with Soldier 76 and Mercy, which makes no fucking sense. But, you know, in terms of like an overarching central premise like that, it's like, okay, well, this is, you know, random number generation. This is just like this is running some theoretical scenarios. Would this go better if we incorporated Junkrat and Roadhog into Overwatch somehow? Maybe by paying them or whatever. You know, like, it's so easy to come up with these premises. This is my main point, because I know this is sort of like a big, you know, screed of gibberish. But my main point is, it is so easy to come up with a central premise. It's so easy to come up with ways to tie this all together and put it all together in a big spider web. But they instead have done nothing to that end.
Yeah.
And throw out a story where they're like, one time Anna was Batman and then Soldier was gay. You know? And you're like, well, thanks. That doesn't do anything. Okay.
So have you guys, you've read Bastet, right?
No.
Yeah, I did at your urging, yes.
Yeah. So I'm just going to be real. It is sub fanfic writing.
Yeah.
Like your average, just go pick a fucking fanfic that's 10,000 words plus anywhere on the internet. I guarantee you it's going to be a better quality of writing than Bastet. It's nuts. Cause it's just stuff like, you know, what's something that Soldier 76 would say after having his needing stitches and being knocked out. I wish this tea was whiskey. Which I think is a perfect segue into the leaked CW script for Powerpuff Girls.
Oh boy. Have you
Listen,
It's talking about fanfic writing. Okay, yeah.
have you seen the promotional artwork for it?
I saw like photos of them on some set or something on Twitter.
There's photos of them on the set when they're like dressed up like the Powerpuff Girls, but then there's the promotional artwork.
I don't hate it.
It's not bad. It's just like, oh, it's a CW show.
It is such a CW show.
And like, I'm of two minds about this, because the CW is one show repackaged with different characters over and over and over again. Whatever, like, at least they're honest about it. Like when the superhero craze was at its apex, they had, you know, Flash and Arrow and all sorts of shit. Like I was watching them and realized quickly, oh, these are all the same show. Okay, I get it. And that you look at that promotional artwork and it's got Bubbles, Buttercup, and Blossom.
Bubblecup is my favorite incest ship.
And they all like have zero personality. They have the color schemes, but none of them look like they have. Like you can't tell anything about them from how they look. And
look at Buttercup. She's a tough, independent Latina.
Now I have to ask something, Brandon. Why did you I'm sorry, Abysme did this. Why did you in the Skype chat link 3 photographs of Brie Larson from Captain Marvel 2? It's the cast of Powerpuff Girls. Okay.
I chroma keyed each of them to be blue, red, and green. Yeah, you're onto my ruse.
Imagine you just take 3. You just do a Mike Myers, Austin Powers thing. You get Brie Larson. And you just have Amy Schumer write for them.
Oof.
And that's the movie. That's the TV show.
I will say this. This is exactly how.
Should we go ahead with your plan?
Let's preface this. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to read off some of this leak script because it's just pure gold. Bubbles. I always believed in you and defended you, Dad. Even when you sold away our likeness to that cartoon, which, by the way, totally whitewashed us, even then, I had your back. I always had a smile on my face. I never broke character, even though there was so much more to me. I always put family and the team first, no matter what.
Sorry.
Just some top tier writing. Let's get some more of this in here.
Wait a minute. Wasn't there? I think you missed the line in that. I'm looking at it right now. Also, Dad, the fact that you don't support BLM and don't believe ACAB shows that.
And to be fair,
it's just politics in Powerpuff Girls. Okay, sure, whatever.
Well, 2 of us really like the Harley Quinn animated series. which has a shit ton of politics in it.
Yeah,
but all of it's hilarious. Oh my God, he's destroying Gotham. Well, I think it was the lack of low-income housing that destroyed Gotham, but sure. Like, tons of amazing digs. They're fucking hilarious.
It's Bruce. Bruce did this. I put down a down payment for my electric car. Where's my goddamn
electric car, Bruce?
Where's my goddamn? Yeah, I saw that clip.
I just got to that.
It's Powerpuff Girls, though. It's like you don't think of grit and you don't think of reality when you think of Powerpuff Girls.
No,
maybe that's just me.
This is fucking Cartoon Fridays. You cannot, well, you can. You should not take these very, very stylized, cartoony, zany but charming style and make a live action series. It does not lend itself to that adaptation at all. Least of all in the CW. They're fucking 8.
Can you write a story where you age up the Powerpuff Girls and have a mature, gritty theme? You can, but why and to what end?
Yeah.
It just doesn't, can you? Yes.
That's essentially the Harley Quinn animated series. It's a bunch of 20-somethings.
But, you have to throw in that question of scientists were so busy asking, can they, that they didn't ask, should they?
I really think that this can all be explained very easily, though, if you just look back at the course of events where you're like, first the CW came for Arrow. Green Arrow, and I didn't say anything because nobody is a Green Arrow fan.
True.
Then the CW came for the Flash, and I didn't say anything because I didn't understand the Flash's lore anyway, and it could be an alternate universe, so who cares? Then the CW came for Supergirl and Batwoman. I didn't say anything because it wasn't my place as a cishet white male.
Then they came for Batman, and then they realized they couldn't do that, so they just settled for Gotham instead.
And then they came for the Powerpuff Girls, and I couldn't speak because, the Powerpuff Girls is just the point where, actually everybody cares about that. It's not like Supergirl, Batwoman, The Flash, and Green Arrow where literally nobody gives a shit.
For instance, Mojo Jojo's played by some cracker, and what could you possibly do to him? The character of him, that it is such a perfectly realized character in Powerpuff Girls the cartoon. How the fuck do you adapt that without being without completely missing the mark or just disappointing everybody?
The character of him, I'm predicting that the character of him will be played just by a manic pixie dream girl, and that they'll just cop out and go that way where it's like
RuPaul.
No, I'm going to go with with Slime Beast. I think it's going to be a manic pixie dream girl. I think that they're going to get like Audrey Plaza or whoever.
Yeah,
just do. Yeah.
Just appearing. Fuck! Why are people subscribing and hitting me with alerts? Fucking shit.
Hey, that's a good, reminder to subscribe to the Fear Fiction podcast.
Interrupt our recording sessions, please, with your subscription.
Well, I do got to get this out there. We're talking about, cishet white men. Buttercup, I'm not wearing that dress anymore. It's compulsory heterosexuality. Blossom, take it up with Dad.
You know what? You can make those jokes. They can be funny, but not in this context. It's just so fucking forced.
I love how it's so good. It's so good. I love these bits. They're pure gold.
It reminds me very much of shit. What was that? There was a show that they were going to do.
Yes, it does remind me of shit.
Wonder Woman. Do you remember the Wonder Woman TV show they were going to do with the fucking dude who wrote like The West Wing and stuff like that? I think.
No.
Oh shit! I'm not sure if I have all the details correct, but they had a Wonder Woman TV series they were going to do where they started filming like one episode and I think they didn't even finish it before they said never mind.
Ooh.
It was like they leaked the script of it and it was like Wonder Woman sitting on her couch and eating ice cream and crying. And all this stuff like that where it was like, no, just superhero, doesn't have time for that shit. Doesn't get hurt by words. Superhero.
I read the original run, like the inception of Wonder Woman. They're made back in the fucking 20s or 30s or something.
The insemination of Wonder Woman?
Oh, absolutely. couched in women's suffrage, made by the dude who invented truth serum, like a lot of weird shit. Had an open relationship, bondage is in there. It was during World War II, like very much of its time, but wonderful. I've always loved it. And other than like the Justice League animated TV show, no one has fucking got Wonder Woman correctly in every new adaptation. I don't know why it's so fucking hard to do it. She's not that complicated of a character, but she's a very endearing character. And people keep fucking her up.
You don't think Wonder Woman 88 was a perfect portrayal?
I just don't like Gal Gadot is not a good choice for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, they should have won with the Palestinian. Anyway. Can we get to, I gotta throw, I know that we're moving on, but I do want to throw in
one more.
JoJo. Well, there is the one, I gotta mention this one. Honorable mention goes to Buttercup fucking another chick in a bed and being interrupted by Blossom, and this other chick being like, I think 6 times was enough. That is straight out of a fanfic, a sexual fanfic written by someone who's never had sex.
Is this written by the writer from that cartoon who had himself drawn in as Blossom's boyfriend?
What?
Oh, dude, I so forgot about that.
Abysme, there was a reboot of the Powerpuff Girls, a reboot cartoon.
I remember that. I didn't see it because it looked like shit.
One of the dudes on staff for the cartoon had a character inserted of himself as a child, and Blossom was very much in love with him all the time.
That's gross.
Yeah. It seems like the same type of writing, same writers.
So the Rebecca Sugar treatment, essentially.
Yeah, the Rebecca Sugar treatment.
I totally get the idea of, like, okay, this is like a kid character, but, like, age them up because you like the personality or whatever for your fanfic. Whatever, I don't judge that kind of... Yeah. I don't... Yeah. But, like, man, way to just capture it in 4K, you fucking idiot, with an actual child version. Like, you fucking nut job! JoJo, I've delivered on everything I promised, except for free gelato Fridays, and that's only because the perfect scoop turned out to be a front for meth trafficking.
Again, that is something I would hear in Harley Quinn, but it would be funny.
It made me laugh, but not for the intended reason, so, Yeah.
Guys, we have to... I'll read a line here. Guys, we have to solve this crisis immediately. We have a meeting with President Bellum at 5.
I'd be down for President Bellum.
Yeah. But I mean, you could sort of see it. You don't know if it's real or fake,
Well, if it's President Bellum, does that mean that we don't have to look at her face and she has giant honkers?
Hell yeah.
It's a reverse podium. It says nailed to the ceiling. But yeah, you can age up the characters. You can do all that. It just is a matter of you have to be delicate with it. It's sort of like when they made Gotham and they were like, this is going to be about, when Bruce Wayne was a child and everything. It's like, okay, well, I didn't particularly like Gotham myself, whatever. But, they stayed within, generally, the confines of it's dark and gritty Gotham. Dark and gritty shit is happening. And here we have, Bruce Wayne as a kid. It's, an aged down thing. Yeah. So you can age up the Powerpuff Girls or any character like that, but you kind of should probably stick to the world that they were in. You can make it a little darker, a little grittier, more adult, but it should have some semblance of the actual themes of what you're adapting. I don't know.
There's an episode of the original Powerpuff Girls where they go to Citiesville. They leave Townsville and go to Citiesville because the professor gets a better job. And it's like depressing and grimy, and everyone is just like they go to the mayor of that city, and he says, like, we don't need your help here. All you did is create tons of property damage. And like has this line where he says, no one actually lives here. They just commute. Like, it got really super real. Right. And they leave because, like, that's the point of the episode. Oh my God, this is too real. That's all I need. If someone asks, could you make the Powerpuff Girls dark and gritty? They straight up made an episode about it and how it's a bad idea because this is a colorful, zany world. Why would you bother?
I wish if they were going to do this and if they had to do this, I wish they had writers that would know how to either purposefully and openly or slyly, like, lampoon the fact they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, instead of having it be that, hey, guess what? what's the one? Bubbles. Bubbles is a big slut skank, ha ha ha, whatever. You could have it just be like, hey, the internet is full of all these people who stan Bubbles and they're all really creepy and they keep trying to touch her, there's some kind of thing where you're lampooning, you're making a joke of it, like how it would actually be for these, characters to be grown up, as opposed to writing a story that is basically any other slice of life roommates living in the big city story, but they just so happen to be the Powerpuff Girls,
Well, in the CW, will never do that because that is not their
CW-verse.
aim. That is not their aim. That is not the demographic they are going for. They make soap opera trash with other people's IP. That is it.
I mean, you could literally have somebody say, hey, Bubbles, this guy is creepier than that dude that used to draw the animations where he was making out with Blossom, make a reference to it,
Just turn to the camera and look.
Oh, God.
Well, speaking of doing garbage with other people's intellectual properties, Dead by Daylight.
I want to say one more thing. You got Bubbles and she's on the computer and she's looking up something on the laptop and she says, guys, I found this set of rules from this site called 4chan. And I'm up to rule 33, and they're like, stop there! Stop there!
They turn to Bubbles, and she's like, I got a laptop in my back pocket.
Yeah, there you go.
No, so Dead by Daylight has a good update, allegedly. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The DLC, gotta preface this. The DLC was not implemented in game yet because they're still having player testing now, but they revealed the Resident Evil chapter. It hits June 15th, I believe, but it was also the 5-year celebration of Dead by Daylight, so they just kind of had a big, here's what's coming up on the game, here's some new stuff, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, very, very happy with it. Also, been in the forums, don't see a lot of people getting pissed off, which is rare.
They are adding Tracer.
They're adding Tracer. It's going to be a survivor and a killer. It's going to be amazing. I only have 2 issues. And
hey, Jeff Kaplan, here for the behavior team.
Here for behavior now.
Oh, man, wouldn't that
cut.
be cool if that was his new job and he did the exact same thing?
He's such a pay cut.
What if he doesn't actually, develop any games now? He just does developer updates for different games?
What if he just goes home, he logs on to his PC, his home PC, dusts off his old account, tries to remember his password, logs in as Tig Ol' Bitties, his old account, and he just goes back on Warcraft and trolls people.
Where he just called people the R word constantly and stuff.
He made his money. He could do that.
Jeff Kaplan here for the Among Us team.
So the Nemesis, of course, is the killer. Leon and Jill, 2 survivors released with 1 DLC, and both of them look insanely fun. They have the ability to use flashbangs to trap and distract the killer, which is going to be annoying as fuck, but frankly, I'm here for it. It changes things up. Biggest thing, Nemesis, not overpowered, not underpowered on release, also very rare. But the coolest thing about Nemesis, other than the new map we get, which is fucking beautiful, AI-controlled zombies.
And we should point out, for all the Zoomers out there, these are characters from old Resident Evil games you've never heard of. So
you would definitely... Ethan was not in the game. I'm very disappointed.
They just did re-releases 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, Zoomers were, 8 years old then? I don't know.
It is weird, though, because they picked 2 characters who are well-known, good shots, so it's why didn't you just pick, a character that's more... You could have done Ashley. Ashley doesn't know how to use a gun.
Ashley would have been funny. That would have been funny.
I was hoping it was Leon. If you had to do 2, it'd be Leon and Ashley, because then at least you have the pair.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What if every time you pick up Ashley as the killer, she goes, Leon! Leon!
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so AI-controlled zombies, which is just the most entertaining fucking thing to watch, because when they hit a survivor, there's a really good chance that the survivor just gets fucking bitch slapped and like flies like does like, and it doesn't fly far, but does like a whole like 180 in the air and hits the ground. And they're just wandering the map. So if you're being chased by the killer and you turn a corner, you may just be fucking like strong armed by a zombie. When most important about this is that AI stuff on the map, which means there's a possibility for other new stuff on the map, which a lot of people have been asking for. Behavior, as they promised, have been working on a lot of really big shit. I'm not going to go into super detail about everything on there because you can just watch the live stream for yourself or read an article. But no, update was good. A lot of the new content looks fun. I'm not a big RE fan, so, but again, a lot of RE fans are very happy with what they put in. So I don't know, but I'm happy with it.
It does look like they actually put time and effort into unique mechanics.
Yep.
I just don't understand the perk systems because they're always just like weird things of just like, yeah, so if you down a person and then they get back up and then you go kick a generator and then you down that person again, that generator will explode on the next person. It's always like some fucking convoluted mess. And I'm just like, how does anyone like even like read this in game or like know what's happening?
Because you read it prior to the game, and so, well, that's the funny, because, yeah, that's one of Nemesis's perks. One of his other perks was, at the beginning of the match, you see everyone's auras for 7 seconds, and then it goes away. Everyone scratched their head at that one and went, okay, cool, but, like, that's gonna get a buff, and the other one's probably gonna get a nerf. Perks are... Once you get used to the terminology of Dead by Daylight, the perks just become like second nature. But the idea of perks is it's not just meant for that one survivor or that one killer. Eventually you will unlock them and put them on other killers and survivors, and you will mix and match, and that's how you get customized gameplay, and that's where, you know, you keep things interesting.
Here's my thought. First of all, when you mention, you know, survivors having flashbangs and, you know, being able to distract the killer and all different things like that, that very much brings to mind Blood Garden. Which makes it makes me wonder if they've taken the failed Blood Garden game and if they're maybe going to bring some elements of that to Dead by Daylight, which would be interesting.
It would be, because Blood Garden had some decent ideas, but its execution was...
I liked the fact it had more game modes and not the same thing every fucking time.
Well, I think really, like, introducing AI, number one, we're going to get practice matches, and number two, we're going to get more game modes in the future. It's what everyone's really thinking, because it just lends itself to that. Secondly,
behavior is, and Dead by Daylight, are the reverse of Blizzard and Overwatch. Because if you think about it, they're actually still doing updates that, you know, matter and are interesting to people, and they've added more characters than Overwatch has.
They add DLC you can pay for. They also have kind of an in-game system where you can unlock things just through playing, so they make their money, but they also balance and update the game on a regular basis, and they're a much smaller team with a much smaller budget. So
they're literally the other end of the horseshoe from Overwatch,
and much shallower mechanics as well.
Yeah,
but
in all ways, it's the opposite in like all ways.
I will say that
how are the mechanics shallower?
I don't like the idea of like not being able to read what your opponent has. Like, it seems like an important thing to know. Be able to predict what your killer can do, and then it's just a battle of wits.
It's asymmetric, so you have to have a lack of information and ways to seek out information. If it was a 6v6, then absolutely, it makes more sense to know what other people have. But
I just hate the fucking circles.
That's fine.
I don't want to do the circles.
That's fine.
There is. It just does seem like, okay, this is the one thing that you do is you do circles. And then it's just like, okay, you don't have any other...
That's why it would be really nice.
Looking through healing people, looking through chests, doing totems.
All circles.
All circles.
No.
Not all,
but,
you know.
No.
Point being, though. But, like, how many heroes have, like, killers have they released in the past year? Hasn't it been, like, fucking 5?
Tons.
It's so stupid how much more productive they are.
They have they have killers. I almost called them heroes like Overwatch. They have killers that they've added that I completely miss, and I see like something randomly, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
whereas with Overwatch,
K-pop boy,
they added. Oh god, the trickster.
Well, like that, the Oni character. I saw that at one point recently, and I was like, what, did they just add an Oni character just recently? And I'm like, oh.
I will say their original characters, quote unquote original characters, get a lot less press than the licensed IP, which is unfortunate because other than Myers, like I really prefer their original creations. But
the Trickster guy was pretty cool though. I do like him. I do like his gimmick.
His gimmick is great, but like he was such. Like, I do not see an army of K-pop stans rushing to Dead by Daylight. It just didn't happen. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I mean, you try it. I get the business decision, but no one really went for Trickster. Sorry.
They had to try it because you look at League of Legends and they're like, here's our pink-haired girl. Buy a $40 skin. And people are like, yes.
Well, here's the thing. The K-pop guy should have been the survivor. The killer should have been something else. Because the K-pop killer, again, I have no real problems with him, but boy, does he just look totally weird and different from everything else, and he kind of just is a dude.
The K-pop guy should have been a survivor, and the killer should have been his manager.
Something like that. Something like that.
No, they should have just been like, no, here, I'm booking it for you. You get a survivor that is, from a K-pop band, and then you also get a killer that's from the K-pop band, and the band broke up because, well, one of them is a killer. So,
and they're from the band The Killers.
And it's the band The Killers, and they're looking on the bright side, and you have the fans writing all of these fanfics about, all the things that happened on the tour bus.
That would have been better. And, I like that he's a range character. We do need more range characters, but no one was super excited about Trickster.
I really just hope I will return to Dead by Daylight in a big way if they ever add new modes. Like I said with Blood Garden, where they had capture the point. They had all different modes in that, and it's like, different things you could do. If you don't like one thing, you could do another. No circles, yay.
I really think that they're going to go the way about it, I think that League of Legends did, which is really hone down the main mode, get enough of a catalog of survivors and killers, and then slightly test new things to introduce, and then they're going to come out with new modes. I think that's what they're going to do.
Well, I really hope this is something that I wanted to see from the first time I played Dead by Daylight way back. I want to see a 5v5, and this is kind of a tough subject given Overwatch, but I want to see a 5v5 version where you have 4 survivors on either team and a killer on either team. And the survivors are competing to do something, and the 2 killers exist solely to try to kill the other team, and can't hurt each other, can't, really interact with each other, but, are there to try to find everybody.
I don't necessarily have a problem with the idea that, it's always the 4v1 in, the same game mode. I think that you just need more variety in terms of how you're actually going to have killers function, because they're all just humanoids, which is the frustrating thing to me. And if you look at even something like SCP Secret Lab, all of the characters, even though they're buggy and it's just a bullshit Unity engine game,
it's
of the characters,
Gmod mode.
Yeah, all of the characters feel intuitively different, just like in Overwatch, where it's oh, I'm a giant gorilla with a jetpack, and it feels like I'm playing, every character in Dead by Daylight, I'm just watching gameplay, and I'm like, yep, that's a human.
Yeah.
And you're not alone in that, and that is something that the community wants. And again, I think that Behavior will eventually incorporate that. They are not backed by Blizzard. They are trying to make sure their game is as functional as possible based on the 1v4, which is not easy to balance by any means. But I think we can expect to see new and different things coming out.
I've seen a lot of Dead by Daylight people. I've watched a few streamers over the years where they would occasionally play Dead by Daylight or talk about it. Mm-hmm. And, some of them were really into it to a certain extent, and in the past or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I've seen so many people say, you cannot have this type of killer, you cannot have that type of killer, so on and so forth. People always say, what killer would you like to see in the game? And, people will be like, Chucky from the Child's Play movies. And they'd be like, well, you can't have that because, he'd be too small and you wouldn't be able to see him and it wouldn't be blah, blah, blah.
Which is funny because they just introduced a killer that has someone the size of Chucky that runs around and attacks Survivor.
Yeah, that's the thing is, you can do anything. You just have to plan it properly.
Well, and the killers that have the most notoriety are the ones that do the things that broke everyone's expectations of how to play the game. Nurse, who was the fourth one, she can teleport through terrain. Everyone went, oh no, I can't loop anything anymore. Survivors have to utterly change how they think about running in a chase entirely, and people are always angry at good nurse players. She's got a fucking high skill ceiling. But that, the things that completely mess with Survivor's expectations are the most creative killers.
Yeah.
So at 100%, I think that they will start introducing even more out of the current little box they're in type of gameplay.
I think they're on the right track with Nemesis because that does look pretty cool. And when it was announced, hey, we're going to do Resident Evil stuff, I'm like, oh, it's going to be Nemesis and it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I didn't even predict the zombie thing, so that's
no one saw that come.
It's one of the things that really frustrates me with Overwatch 2 is with Dead by Daylight, you see again Dead by Daylight being the other end of the horseshoe, completely different. They throw in these things that change the game, and people, change around it, and they're the most memorable characters they add. Overwatch is again, that thing where it's it'd be cool if a hero did this, or a hero did that, or a hero could blah, 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 and people are like, no, that would ruin everything, no. No, be very careful with what you do, because it might throw something out of whack in the meta. And,
there's definitely
then they add something that's purposefully there to change the meta, to stop dive or to stop goats, and that's the only time they add something that's disruptive. And everybody hates it because it's here's the one disruptive thing, and it's to stop the way we're all playing now because we've gone so long without any changes.
There's a big difference I've seen also in the mentality of Overwatch streamers and Dead by Daylight streamers, because Overwatch streamers, if they're not fucking plants for the game, are seem to get bored, I think, with certain gameplay now and then, and they can play modes, but that's when they're having fun, not when they're just doing the regular 6v6, soon to be 5v5. Dead by Daylight streamers are you know what? I'm going to take Clown. I'm going to make him into a ninja because I'm going to put him in the purple outfit, and he's going to hide in his purple gas clouds, and he's going to sneak up on people, which is no one. Clown is anything other than a stealth killer, but he was just having fun in a game, dropping from the rafters and hitting people because they couldn't they couldn't hear his heartbeat.
Yeah.
And the game is chock full of meme builds. People love doing meme builds. They love just exploring random bullshit with characters because it's, this is one of the reasons why I stopped playing Overwatch. And this is before Rollock. This is on me entirely. I got kind of bored. I can only play Mei with her kit, and that's all I can really do. I wish there was a way I could maybe customize her a little bit.
I'm the exact opposite. I am just no, Mei is Mei, and I like it that way. I like the kit to be the kit. I have so the opposite mentality, and that's why I'm frustrated.
It's pretty.
You're right. You're right, and you're convincing me. I'm starting to understand why people I still don't like the certain elements of it, but I understand where you're coming from, that you can do those kinds of builds. But it does drive me up the wall that there is no alternative to Overwatch. There really isn't. There's no game like it. Paladins isn't like it. None of it. None of it's like the game that they took away from me.
It sucks.
The customization in Overwatch is your other team members and what they choose.
Yes.
And it's so hard to find anybody who gives a shit.
Right.
Unless you're actually friends with them already before you start playing Overwatch.
And
nobody cares.
That if the only way to get a different experience out of a game is entirely dependent on other people, I'm not into that. I need to be able to have some sort of agency over my enjoyment of the game.
Yeah. It's if this person plays Lucio and this person plays Zarya, then my character has a speed buff and occasionally is immortal due to the bubble. So it's all that kind of thing, but then you get, the thing where people are don't play Lucio, that's not the on-meta hero.
That's not meta.
Shit.
It's always fun getting a 6-stack and going into a casual game, a quick play game, because it was okay, let's just do nothing but crowd control abilities and just frustrate the fuck out of it. We're going to go Roadhog. He's got the hook. We're going to go May. She's got the freeze. Let's, Lucio with the boop and, McCree with the stun. And let's just find one person. Let's just pick one person on the team and bully the fuck out of them. Let's not even try and win. Let's just try and get that person to report us.
Right. Just meme trolling again.
Just meme troll. That's fun to me, and I can't do that anymore.
I back when I played LoL, I had a friend group, and we came up with an idea of, all right, everyone just grab a champion whose ultimate ability is an AOE. We're going to call it AOE Shit Your Pants. Because our one thing to do was wait until all of our ultimates were off cooldown, start a team fight with the other team, everyone flashes in, activates all their abilities at the same time, so you just have damage, crowd control, stuff messing with other people's screens all at the same time, and it worked for approximately 2 games. But like the other team was just, what is happening? What do we do? Oh my god, everyone's frame rates are dropping. I don't even know if we won, but it was fucking hilarious.
That's one of those things where it sounds like you're min-maxing your team so much that like
not even min-maxing, you're just being wonky with it because there's no balance to it.
Yeah, so it's like it doesn't really matter if it's effective or not. It's literally just like let's meme strategy and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I miss that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully something will come out as a competitor. Like, I want a competitor to Dead by Daylight. I want a competitor to Overwatch.
Yes.
I want more stuff.
What if you had both in one game?
Genres.
What if you had over Dead? What if
Dead
you had
by Overwatch?
What if you had Dead Watch?
Watch by Daylight.
Watch by Daylight.
I will say that I play Siege now, even though I'm bad at it. And there's a competitor called Due Process, and it's fun. And it's just like, it's not a thing where one is taking players from the other. They're just kind of sharing them.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. But it's also awesome that right now Siege is like considering, and it's too long to get into, but they're considering a huge rework, and they're being very communicative, like telling the players like, listen, we know people are going to be resistant to this change. We're going to try it, and we're going to try it on test servers, and it might not even be coming out this year, but we're trying out this change, and we want to get feedback because we want to understand whether this is going to be balanced or not. Mm-hmm. And the content creators are like, well, I'm against it, but let's try it out. And it's because there is this open communication, and they're not like hiding shit and saying like obscuring stuff. They are constantly communicating, hey, here's what we're going to do with the game. Here's the direction we're taking it. Here's the stuff that we're changing, because when we started making this game, there was no game like it. So we got some stuff wrong. Are y'all okay if we change this? Are y'all okay if we change Tachanka, this character that everyone loves for being bad? Are you okay if we buff him? And everyone's just like, yeah, listen, thanks for communicating.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great.
The open communication, the games that I've played the most had developers with open communication, especially for multiplayer. Hey, this is what we're trying out. Go to the player test build environment. Let's see what happens. And then there's surprises are fine. Hey, Resident Evil's coming. We're not telling you who you're getting. It's probably going to be Nemesis. But hey, also zombies. Motherfuckers weren't expecting that, were you? There's definitely a balance you can do.
That zombie thing caught me so off guard. You said that in Skype, and I'm like, what?
It was watching the gameplay was so funny because it is such.
I've seen
no one is used to the fact that like they even had one guy who was like getting just like the zombie was slowly following him around a gen. He's like, I have to do this gen. This is the last gen. Please leave me the fuck alone. I can't drop a pallet on you. It was so fucking funny. And they were like, no one was complaining. Everyone was having a great time.
I should become a Dead by Daylight streamer, because like the name Dead Palette just screams Dead by Daylight streamer.
You got the SEO built in already, bro.
Yeah, I do, don't I?
Dead by Daylight, dropping pallets. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Pallet dropper.
And that's it, everybody. Thank you for staying with us through this.
Yeah, what story are we reading?
So that was our cold open. We're going to be reading
Godzilla NES.
Godzilla NES, yes, we're starting it now.
Godzilla for Dead by Daylight when?
Oh my god.
That you could do it. This is the thing. Nothing is off limits. You could do it. It all is a matter of how you plan it and how you put it through.
People would buy that DLC so fast.
You know what? Give them a special map where it's Tokyo, but shrunk down like the model city.
Yeah.
Have all the survivors run around it and have Godzilla in a costume chasing them around.
Have Mothra come in as an AI now and then, do something beneficial for the survivor. Yeah.
Little AI tanks from the from the military.
Just build an algorithm to have their lip syncs be way off for no reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's already destructible environments in the game now, so you could just have destructible buildings when Godzilla gets pissed off.
What would his ability be? I guess
it would be the charge up.
Huh?
Yeah, and it'd be like across the map, but it has a long lead time, so you have a chance to dodge it if you need to. But it slowly destroys all of the terrain, so you have to like work your gens quick.
It would be that thing where Godzilla slides on their tail with their feet up.
Yeah. You could have a skin for Son of Godzilla. You could have a skin for King Kong. You could have a skin for all different things.
You know what? King Kong Godzilla double DLC? Yeah, why not? Do it. Could do it. Bye.
Bye, Dead by Daylight. On sale now.
This has been the Fear Fiction Podcast. Your hosts are Abysme, Dead Palette, and Slime Beast. Music by Abysme. Art by C.F. Comer. Voiceover by Atticus Jackson. Edited by Elias the Intern. Subscribe to FearFic on YouTube to stay up to date on new episodes.